Welcome to the Ultimate Music Teacher's Productivity and Profitability podcast. I'm your host, Glory St. Germain. Tune in to discover how you can unleash your teaching potential and turn your passion for music education into profit. Let's dive in. Well, hey, podcast listeners. I got a really special guest for you guys today. I'm so excited. Adam Liette is the founder and director of Smooth Operations. He's a marketing and operations specialist that has achieved the 2 Comma Club Award. And for those of you that are wondering, what does 2 Comma mean? It means over $1 million in music education industry. And he's helped multiple music educators. He's also a podcaster, and I've had the honor of working with Adam, and so excited that you're joining me today. Thanks for being here, Adam.
Oh, so happy to be here, Glory. It's been so fun reconnecting these past couple of months, and you've just been in my life for so many years now. It's such an honor now to be conversing on this level. It's amazing.
Yeah. And thanks for being a guest. I'd love to hear, a little bit more about your journey. How did you become so passionate about being a leader for your team and specifically in the music education industry?
Absolutely. So I have one of those weird, what happened stories. It's kind of my life story where I am a classically trained trumpet player, went to university, got a double major in music education and trumpet performance. And like most double majors in music education and trumpet performance, when I graduated, I joined the Army.
Ooh,
that made sense. But it was right in the middle of the Iraq War. I'm in America, and I was 23 and single, and it's like my turn. Well, it went from a 3-year enlistment to a 12-year career.
Wow.
Where I was active duty for 12 years. I'm actually still in. I'm a reservist now, but I started in the band. The Army does have a band, and did that for a number of years. And then I got recruited into special operations. So I was jumping from planes, going on missions, traveling the world, doing all sorts of interesting things to places that I can't always divulge, but that's the life.
Yeah.
And along that journey, I at one point got injured. I broke my ankle in a military training accident, and I had to sit still for the first time in years. And I don't sit still that easily. It was then I discovered this world of digital marketing and inspired, oh my gosh, what is this stuff? And as I was getting ready to leave the Army, lo and behold, I found a job for a music education company. Everything came full circle. So I was able to apply my passions of leadership and marketing and all these stuff I learned in the Army, circled back to music education. And that was, here we go, phase 3 of my life. That led to multiple other opportunities. And now I'm working with multiple different companies and marketing all over the board, but working with music education companies by far my favorite type of client to work with.
Yeah. And how exciting is that? I mean, first of all, you've had such a varied life of travel and seeing so much in the world. And each one of those is really a stepping stone into becoming a leader. And I think with all the rapid changes coming, in the music education platform, and certainly we're now crossing borders. We're not just teaching in our own little area anymore. We're teaching not only in different states and provinces, but in different countries as well. So how do you think leadership and team expectations should evolve to meet these challenges effectively?
Oh my, especially with our teams. Our teams are now global, and that is not going away. We are always going to be working with different cultures,
Yes.
People in different parts of the world. So really upping your cultural IQ. I think as musicians, we have some innate, skill sets that we built towards that already, having been exposed to music from different cultures, different languages, all those things that we've done in our practice lends us to be able to work with other cultures a little easier. And in fact, music is it's a way to bridge cultures. We've seen it over and over again. So use that superpower that you have already and just use that in order to communicate with your people. That being said, I mean, you've probably experienced this as well. Like different cultures, they have different expectations. But it's a tricky line to balance between your expectation as the owner and CEO and what that culture might be anticipating. Ultimately, they're working for you, So you need to bring them to you, but it can't be by force. It can't be by edict. People don't operate that way, and they can go
That's true.
somewhere else if they really want to.
Yeah.
So it's building relationships, having those conversations, being open to people, and just jumping on a 10-minute Zoom call and literally just saying, hey, how are you doing? It's amazing how much you can accomplish with that simple of a question.
Absolutely. And I think, I really just appreciate what you say so much. I think one of the challenges that entrepreneurs often have when they're taking in that role of CEO is even knowing how to become a leader. I know for myself, many, many years ago now, when I hired my first VA, and half the time I was scrambling, just trying to figure out things for her to do because I'd never had an assistant before. And of course, now I'm all about delegate. But
yes.
I think, one of the things I'd love for you to share is when you're thinking, Adam, so perhaps musicians, for some of them, they maybe don't have a team, right? So as educators, sometimes we think, well, I'm just a solopreneur. What suggestions would you have for them to maybe reach out and even, have a VA or have someone in their area? What would be your thoughts for them?
Absolutely. There's so many things that go into running our business every stage. I mean, from the beginning, you're doing a lot of different things. And I think so often we get consumed with the now and what we're doing now. What that does for many of us is it blocks off our vision for the future. And we're just focusing on the now. And there's nothing wrong with that. You need to have your now time. Yeah. So if you're like, oh, that's me. Yeah, it's going to be you. We're all going to go through that phase. But setting aside time on your calendar, being very deliberate about blocking that time, protecting that time, even from your students, guys, that's the hard part. You have to promise yourself to do this. Blocking off that time is start to look at the vision. Where do you want this to go? You are never going, well, not never. I don't like to use absolutes. You are much more likely to find things to delegate, to find ways to open up your time when you're in pursuit of a vision. But it's not going to come the other way around. And that's, I think, what holds many of us back. We tell ourselves, when I have time, I'll do this.
Yes.
Well, if you want to do this, make the time. And that ultimately, I found working with people, that is what gets them to finally pull that trigger and make that hard decision to go find someone, to go figure out how they're going to delegate. It's always in pursuit of the vision.
Mm-hmm. That was really well said, Adam. And I know for myself, just as you're saying that, I'm thinking about, yes, as our company has grown and I've realized that that's my vision, I can't do it alone. I need a team and I count on them. And it really is what's going to get you there faster too, because in this day and age, things are moving pretty fast. And I know one of the things that you shared with me was that Alex Charfin, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he was one of your greatest influences. Could you share the story of how did he challenge you to delegate the task that you were best at, and then how it transformed your approach to leadership and operations?
Alex, I love this man so much. He made such a difference in my life and came at this perfect pivotal time. So I cannot speak highly enough of Alex and the work that he does. I had been in his program. He has a high level coaching program for entrepreneurs that are moving past the 7-figure stage, which is where we were at the time. And he told me, we were at this meeting and we're sitting here just like this. He's like, Adam, I want you to go out and what do you do best in the company? And for me, that was email marketing and automation. I'm a whiz at it. I know the systems inside and out. It was part of my identity, to be honest. I lived for this. And he said, great, delegate it. Huh? But yeah. Alex, that's what I do. He's like, yeah, it means you're perfect to teach it to someone else. Delegate it now. I was so mad. I'm like, no way. No way am I going to do this. But he's worth like a lot of money. So I figured he probably knows what he's talking about. Yeah. So after venting for a couple of days, I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And it turns out he was right. I knew the system so well inside and out. I could create SOPs. I could create systems, and I could teach one of my subordinates how to do my job, how to do what I was doing in the automation. And she had zero experience, had never ran even MailChimp. And I taught her Infusionsoft in 2 months. Yeah. So And the wonderful thing about this is I later found out that that particular employee was starting to doubt her own role in the company and her own place in the company and was thinking about leaving us.
Yeah.
But it was by me saying, I trust you this much, that she stayed on board. And turns out actually ended up replacing me in the leadership role in the company about a year later, which is fantastic. But what this taught me more than anything, that was a fringe benefit that this employee got this wonderful reward. But what it taught me was that delegating, yes, it's getting it off your plate in a way, but I don't want you to think about delegating as far, it's not giving it to someone else. It's not taking it off your plate. You are elevating your contribution to that task. Mm-hmm. So for me, I was still involved in our email marketing and all the automations, but now I was doing it at an entirely strategic level. Yeah. I was still able to have my contribution to keep that part of my identity, but now I was doing it at a much higher level. So now we could see further down the future. We could start to make those plans and programs and changes that we needed to do for our next phase of growth, because I was out of the tactical, out of the button pushing, and able to think strategically. Yeah. So that's all thanks to Alex and him making me mad one day. But that's a good coach will make you mad every now and then, because they're going to tell you the uncomfortable truth.
Yes, it really well said, Adam. It does make you, and sometimes if you're coachable, if you're open to listening and you actually pay attention, it can be a game changer for you. And it's funny because, years ago, I used to write all the blogs for Ultimate Music Theory. It was my thing. I was passionate about it. And you know how you think you're the best at it, right? And it was becoming one more task, even though I was passionate about it. But I handed it over to Sheila McKibben-Uren, who is the examiner for our Ultimate Music Theory certification course. And at first I thought, she writes so differently than I do. But the truth of it is that hers were way better than mine. And the more I saw her writing blogs, I'm like, this is genius. Like, oh my God, you're so good at this. So when we let go, and of course, as you just said, it gave me the space to elevate my skill set in a different direction and to create courses and so on. So sometimes just being open to saying, yeah, okay, be annoyed, dig your heels in a little, but then take the step out. And I think it can really have a huge impact on your business. And as you know, you're a marketing and operations specialist. So what are maybe some of the strategies that you believe are really crucial for music educators to succeed in today's, it's a competitive landscape.
Yeah, specifically like curriculum wise or team leadership wise?
Yeah, let's talk about both. Let's go team leadership and then let's talk about curriculum, because that's a huge conversation in itself, isn't it?
Yes. So with team leadership, I would say the number one thing, if I have to go back all over again, which I've actually been doing, I'm writing a book, so I'm like retracing my journey, is I wasn't a good leader until I had awareness of myself, until I was comfortable in my own skin, until I could look in the mirror and be like, you're doing it, right? So taking that very purposeful time to love yourself. Yeah. And journaling and all the good things. I'm not going to tell you the specific tactics to use. That is all so very personal on what you find works for you, whether it's journaling or meditation or walks or, I'll be honest, one of my best things that I do to relax and get myself back into myself is I'm a hunter and I go out and I shoot guns and stuff. That's just part of who I am. And it centers me. So to become a better leader, you must be more comfortable with yourself. And until you do that, nothing else will change. So good motivation to work on ourselves. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Curriculum wise, everything we've kind of been in this thing for a while where we're competing against YouTube and all the ways of approaching music education. And I'll say the most powerful courses that I've either been a part of, either directly putting together, helping to bring to market, helping to market them, or have had coached my students on doing it. It's never about the features of the course. It's never 75 video lessons, all that. It's focused on the transformation. You can do a lot of good for musicians in a very short period of time. One of the most powerful courses I've ever put together or had a part in putting together, I can't take credit for it. It was 4 weeks long.
Mm.
a 4-week course. And the transformations we saw from that course were incredible. And there's a reason it sold multiple 6 figures because of that transformation. So as you're looking at your own curriculum, you're looking at the packages that you're putting together for your students, begin with the end in mind, really. Like, where do you want your students to go? What do you want that journey to be? I have a feeling you already know what it is. And that's the really big secret. We know what it is, and we're afraid to say it. So be confident in saying what your students are going to experience, and they will follow you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, when we've chatted many times, Adam, and sometimes musicians and music educators, they talk about this, the starving artist, and they often don't think of themselves as entrepreneurs that can actually make a 6-7 figure business. And when you talk about the 2 Comma Club Award, I mean, this is a significant achievement. So first of all, congratulations and kudos to you, because that doesn't happen from just, trying. I mean, it's not a lottery ticket. We're saying this is serious work. So can you explain just what does it mean in the music education industry? Like, how has that impacted your career? It
was years of work. I tell you what, to get there. What it's meant for me, it's partially validation, to be honest. I mean, it's nice to have awards on your wall. Like,
yes.
Even like my military uniform, it's nice. I have awards. I'm highly decorated. But more than anything, when I reflect on it, it's the journey to get there and all the things that I had to learn to get there. You need to embrace, and this is like a bad word for many people, and I want us to dissolve this bad word. It's marketing. Okay. Yeah. Marketing works. And there are very specific tactics to use. And we need to dump aside that impression that, if I build it, they will come. That doesn't work. Or, that's kind of a sleazy method. There are sleazy methods of marketing that I won't advocate for people. And we don't need to go into those because I don't want to. Let's keep that right over there. There are very, very truthful and honest and full of integrity ways of marketing that will compel people into action. One of my biggest influences in marketing told me that if you have a product or a service that can change someone's life for the better, then you have a moral obligation to sell that to as many people as you can. Yeah. So I want you to think about that as your obligation, learn marketing, learn the skills, and keep on diligently applying them.
Yeah. And that's such an important message, Adam, because so many times music educators, they feel, we have a family of 4, so we're going to give them all a discount, and we have this and we have this. But really what they're missing is the transformation part, and knowing that you can make a difference if you know your marketing message in order to reach these families. And it doesn't matter if you've got 4 kids or 6 or 1, you want to invest with this educator because of the transformation that they're going to take you on with their kids, right? With their little mini musicians, and you never know, they might be the next Beethoven. So it's incredible. And it's why I love working with you and learning from you as well. Like, I'm just thinking, this is brilliant. It's an interesting name for your company, Smooth Operations. I think there's a song, Smooth Operator. Don't make me sing it for you now. So this is an intriguing name. So what does it take to be a smooth operator in the context of your music education and how you help, professionals develop and achieve their status? How does that look like for you? What's your smooth operator look?
Absolutely. So the term operator, I learned it from Alex Sharfin. So I'll give him a credit again. He comes up twice in the interview. When we think about that second in command for a company, there's a lot of different names we give to it. You'll hear the term integrator a lot. You'll hear VA. I use the term operator, and an operator is very different from an integrator. Where an integrator is mostly, what's the vision? Go execute. And not to say that's nothing bad against integrators. I don't want that to be construed about that at all, because integrators, you're doing amazing work. Right. An operator is an integrator with an entrepreneurial mindset. Mm-hmm. So they're perfectly happy doing the work, getting their hands dirty, but we have our vision on the bigger picture. We are entrepreneurially minded. Yep. So that's where the term operator comes from. When I think the smooth came from, it actually came from a former colleague of mine who I won the 2 Comma Club with. I got a bobblehead behind me with the smooth operator. When you think about a business, any business, a business is a series of replicable steps that are happening over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. It's an engine. It's a machine. When you're building a machine, we need the machine to run smooth. We need it to be well oiled. We need to figure out what's causing disjoint, what's causing it to be out of timing, what's causing things to go off. When you master that machine, you have all those wheels turning, things are moving smooth. Mm-hmm. So that's how the name came about. It's really about building the machine, the systems, the replicable, repeatable processes in your business that when you get them down, they run themselves and you are a happy, happy CEO.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are a smooth operator, that's for sure. And I think too, when we look at, and I want educators and our listeners to realize that, I look back at my journey, Adam, and I think, well, if I can do this, anybody can do this. I was just a piano teacher, teaching, 30 hours a week, and things happen in my life and, financial devastation. And then you have to make a decision. Are you just going to curl up and, die, or are you going to do something about it? And I think when you're talking about, taking these leadership roles, becoming a smooth operator, hiring a VA. And for those of you that haven't heard, the term VA is a virtual assistant, right? So it doesn't mean even they have to live in your city. They can live in another state or province or country, whatever. But this is going to elevate your business. And that's really what we're talking about here is how can you elevate your income and also be more productive in your business? And innovation is essential in any industry. We know that. So Adam, how do you foster, a culture of innovation within your team and encourage creativity? Because that really puts you on your path for challenges in the music education industry, but also on your path for success.
Absolutely. First off, I am an eternal student myself. So when you're the model of what you want your people to be, they will model you. So I'm always, and I have this whole bookshelf next to me for a reason. I read books like crazy. I'm always in a course. And I communicate that to my subordinates. I let them know the things I'm learning so they know even I'm not done. I'm not a finished product. I'm continuing to work on myself, and I challenge them to do the same thing. Yeah. So that's part of it. But the biggest part is taking your own guard down. It's the hardest thing for us to do when we're in a leadership position, but finding opportunities for your team to come to you. Mm-hmm. A critical thing that we did, it was several years ago, but we were in this growth phase where things were going crazy. And everyone on the team was everyone was on edge. I could feel it. Everything was going bonkers on the marketing side and the sales side. And all our students were so happy. And our team was just on pins and needles. Yeah. And so I said, okay, everyone book an hour on my calendar this week. And when we got on that call, I said, how are you? How's everything going? And I let them talk. And I asked them where their frustrations were, what was going on. I had noticed things, so I had my notes. I knew what kinds of questions to ask, but I gave them the permission to express it to me without judgment, without retribution. It wasn't it wasn't an evaluation. It was their evaluation of me in many ways. I allowed them to evaluate me and tell me what I needed to do better. And in many cases, it was simple things where I just would really like this Asana test not to trigger the way it's triggering. Oh, is that better? That's so much better. I'm like, you just had to ask, man. It's not that big of a deal. It's just a program. Yeah. But allowing yourself to be vulnerable, take down the facade, take down your security barriers, and be open. It makes a world of difference for your team. And it's not easy for us to do. I talk about it like it's easy. Oh my gosh, this took a lot of work for me to get into this when I first started doing it. So you have to, again, getting back in touch with yourself, creating that strong foundation so you can do this.
Yeah. But that is the marking of a great leader, that you care enough about your team that you are willing to actually listen and listen to understand, not just listen to reply and give judgment and things like that. And very often too, I mean, we've all heard of undercover boss, right? And there's a reason, because sometimes people are afraid to actually honestly say, here's what's happening and here's my frustrations, because they think they'll either be ridiculed or it will be dismissed. And so I think what you're talking about, Adam, is so important, to just be open. I know I'm very driven and I love my team. And so I'm always like, okay, let's get to the point. This is what we're working on right now. But they're also like, oh, guess what I did this weekend? I'm like, okay, just go ahead. What did you do this weekend? So sometimes you just have to be open.
You need to be, Glory. Glory, you are the CEO of the company. You need to be that person. The person who needs to be the vulnerability, the person to cry on, the emotional leader for the team. That's your operator. Yeah. That's where the operator CEO balance works. You are the driven, go, go, go. And then your operator comes in and goes, is everything all right? That's why that balance works. You play a little good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, for sure. Well, actually, you've met some of my team members already, so you probably know that the craziness of the Ultimate Music Theory Dream Team is really, really out there. We have a lot of fun. We really do. So one of the things that we want to just kind of talk about, I'm going to really get you to reveal your secrets right now, Adam. So with your expertise in marketing, what are maybe some unique strategies that you've implemented to help music educators, music teachers reach a wider audience and attract more students? Because it's a question I'm asked a lot. You know, I love teaching. Where am I going to find students? And then we talk about marketing, and, you know, I have a music degree. Many of our listeners have music degrees. No one ever taught us about marketing. It's always about the technical facility of playing the instrument or singing. But marketing is never part of a training to get an ARCT or to get a music degree ever. So let's have the big reveal. What's your top tip for marketing?
Top tip for marketing is funnel hacking. To be honest, it sounds cliche. It's replicate what is working for others. If you look, some of the biggest names in this thing we call music education are not the best musicians. We know that. We can see it. But look at what they are doing. Look at the consistency that they're publishing. Look at how they're building sites. Look at how and then if you get really under the hood, look at how they're doing SEO. Look at how they're doing their rankings. Look at how they're doing these in-depth YouTube descriptions that are full of rich keywords and all this wonderful stuff. If you don't understand it yet, that's fine. You're not going to. Just start copying what they're doing. All of us, even in music, I mean, if you're not copying what you're hearing, are you really trying? I mean, as a songwriter, like, you're always stealing licks from, I mean, we all know that, right? We can all admit that. Why aren't you doing it in your marketing? Why aren't you doing it in how you're setting up your business? None of it will be overnight, and know that it is a long game, but setting yourself up and then showing up with consistency. That's the hardest part for any of us to do. It's just that, oh, it didn't work this week. Maybe I'll try something new next week. Find your platform, find the way that, and now that I stumbled upon the other secret, find the method that you like the most, that you're the most comfortable in. It might be YouTube. It might be TikToks. I don't like TikToks. I can't, it's not long enough, right?
Yeah.
I love this forum.
Yes.
Podcasting is my favorite medium by far, because I can talk a lot, as you're probably know. I also like video, but podcasting, it's my, and I've never have problems being consistent on my own podcast because I enjoy it so much. So finding those methods, copying the experts, and then putting together all the systems to capture leads and do all the things. Know it's going to be a long game, but stay with it and just be diligent. And then measure. Keep your numbers, even if they're depressing at first.
They can be.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, but it can also be very exciting. And I love what you said about, funnel hacking. And in other words, when you see something that's working for someone else, you copy, which is a form of flattery, but you make it your own. I mean, when I look at all the things that I've accomplished in my life, from, writing music theory books, I've written over 60 books in music theory education. Well, I didn't just start from zero. I went and bought every single music theory book on the planet I could find. And then I looked at what was working and what wasn't working. And I researched, what did teachers like? What didn't they like? And then I formulated my own based on the research. And when you're marketing and you're looking for students, if you see an ad and you look at it and go, wow, that's compelling, or that didn't resonate with me, but at least you have a starting point. And you're right, consistency is the key, for anything. We ask our students to practice, and yet we're not consistent, or else we try it once and it doesn't work, so we give up. So yeah, it's not going to happen. So as a leader and a director, what advice would you have for music teachers who are aspiring? They want to grow their own businesses. They want to make a significant impact on their communities. So it's beyond the marketing now. They've got their music business growing. How are they going to just keep growing and really impact the community? Because it's really what I'm passionate about as well.
Understand the power of your voice and just how much your voice is needed in this world, and be diligent about developing it. Musicians, we have been doing something for our entire lives. We've been practicing, right? We've been practicing music since I was 8 years old when I started stealing my dad's guitar. We've been practicing. What's going to propel you forward is your ability to communicate a vision, to communicate how to do things, to inspire people and motivate people, and you aren't going to get there overnight. Mm-hmm. So I have a secret, hidden, super top secret tool that I use.
I like top secret. Reveal.
It's my iPhone. Very super top secret, because on my iPhone, I have this thing called voice recorder. I'm literally on recording 2000 in my voice recorder. Because when I'm doing any kind of communication, whether it be to my team, externally, preparing for a sales call, maybe preparing for this interview, I practice things. I figure out how I want to get my message across, and I will record it, and I will listen back to it. When I'm frustrated, this iPhone has heard more curse words than any other device that you can imagine, because I'll get my frustrations out. I'll release it by expressing it. And so when I have to go into a situation where I need to be that leader, I've already gotten that part done. My frustration's gone. It's over. Now I can be inspirational. Now I can be motivational. And by listening to it, you're gonna, you all know when you're on and when you're not, right? When you're listening to yourself back. And it's the hardest thing to do, just like it's the hardest thing when we start listening to ourselves practice music. But once you start doing it, you're going to be addicted to it. And it's only going to get better and better and better.
Yeah. 100%. And it's so interesting to hear you say that, because the more you practice, the better you get at it. And I think it kind of leads us into, my final question for you today. And that's, the empathy and care that are crucial qualities for leaders, because if you don't take care of you, you don't have the energy to even deal with all the decisions that you have to make, or dealing with clients or anything else for that matter. So how do you balance the caring aspect while maintaining this efficiency and productivity, with your team at Smooth Operations?
Well, it helps. I'm a workaholic, but I'm a workaholic because I work on things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And I can do a 16-hour workday and still be full of energy at the end of it, because I've been operating at a level and doing things that have fueled me throughout. That being said, there are some very practical things that we can do to bring us more in alignment with that. The first thing I do is I end every day by writing down my next day's plan in this planner. I'm holding it up. It's on video, but I use a written down planner. Even though I have 3 computers around me and an iPad and a phone and all this, I write down my plan because of the connection that happens between our brains and our spirit when we actually write things down. This means I wake up every day with my plan already in place. I know what I'm going to do for that day. I wake up and I get some sweat equity in, I get a workout in, I get moving.
Yeah.
And then to end every day, I have this wonderful section in my planner that says, what am I grateful for and where did I win today? We win every day. And the funny thing is, here's what I love about having to write that down at the end of the day, Glory, is I spend my entire day looking for wins.
Yes.
Because I know I have to write them down. If I don't write them down, I don't look for wins. But when I know I have to look for them, I'm conscious of that. I spend my whole day seeking them.
Yeah.
I seek gratitude because I know I have to write it down at the end of the day.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm smiling right now because I know we don't have the same journal, or maybe we do, but I also have a I'm grateful for, and so I end my day the same way you do. And I think gratitude is the key to being successful. I mean, there's a lot of things, but you and I shared sort of a passion for running. I love running. It's my think place, and planning, obviously, love to write things down too. It's the brain dump. I love to handwrite. I'm a messy writer, but when you sit at the end of your day, and I love that you think about it all day. What's going to be is this the one? I have a gratitude rock that I actually hold, and my gratitude rock is just because it's a solid rock. It helps me just hold it, and I feel it in my hand, and I can say I'm grateful for, and I often do it first thing in the morning, that says I'm grateful for all the incredible, magical things that are coming to me today. And then when something happens, I can almost not be surprised because I knew something cool was coming, right? I've hung on to my gratitude rock. So when you're sharing that, and for our listeners, I really hope that you take heart to all the cool stuff that Adam has shared with us today, because he's lived it and has shared so passionately and freely with all of us that when you implement these action steps, you too will find gratitude and the magic little nuggets of how you can grow your business to productivity and profitability. And I'm just so grateful that you have shared all of these things with us today. Thank you so much, Adam.
It's an absolute pleasure and an honor, Glory. I love working with music educators. I'm grateful for what music has done for my own life. And now, as a father of 4 children that are in their own musical lives, we had band camp this week with my oldest. He's getting into high school, plays trumpet. So I see what it does for their lives and all these children that are growing up with music. Thank you all for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Music has the power to change our world, has the power to save lives. It brought me back from I was in kind of a dark place by the end of my Army career.
Yeah.
I am a very happy person now. And music has been a big part of that. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Adam. And how can people connect with you and learn more about you and your products?
Absolutely. So my website is adamliette.com. It's ADAMLIETTE. Love a Frenchy name. It's what it is. But you can find my podcast there, or go to any of the podcast apps. It's called Smooth Operator Podcast. You can also find me on LinkedIn under my name, Adam Liette, or Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adam. And of course, we'll put all of those in the show notes so you guys can check it out. And thanks again, Adam. I really appreciate you being here. So till next time, teach with passion, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Ultimate Music Teachers Productivity and Profitability podcast. Together, we can transform lives through the power of music education. I invite you to explore what's possible for your musical journey inside our UMT community. Simply join our Ultimate Music Teachers private Facebook group, where we network, answer questions, host live events, and connect on a deeper level. Here's to your ultimate music teaching success with productivity and profitability. Till next time, teach with passion.